with his bird's eye view and a brain to match is Mr. Know-It-All.
Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, depending on where and when you're watching this broadcast. I'm Thomas Fessler, my friends, and this is Disclosure Tonight. Happy Friday, October 3rd, 2025. Yeah, and believe that, my friends, it's only 12 weeks till Christmas. Can't wait to see what kind of presents our friends are going to get delivered from Mr. FedEx Santa Claus. On that note, let's go ahead and welcome in our audience. Who the heck do we have out there? Let's go ahead and take a look. Oh, we've got Amiga Rolls, April R. Coleman. I see my friend Benjamin Dreyer. We got Carl Joe Garrison. Christine Lynn is here. I see Delta Echo, Eli McGinnis. Eliza Teal. Good to see you, Eliza. We got Evan B. Fink Ployd. Frazzle says. Geraldine Durazio, Gray Hair Discoveries. Helldiver 86, good to see you, my friend. Howling Huskies in the chat. It's a good place to be. If you haven't joined the chat yet, what are you waiting for? Oh, we got J. Cat, Kane Northrop, Kelly Barot, and those piercing blue eyes. Good to see you as always, Kelly. Who else we got there? I got Jake Nate, not from State Farm, Mr. Joey B. Necessary Dialogues here. Good to see you, my friend, along with Peggy and her South Florida friends. Hugs to all of you, my dear lady. Mr. Catfish 2100 just popped up. Yerp. We got Push King, Rainstorm Hunter, Ram, Alcatar, Rams here. Rusty Doors, Sam, Shelly Montgomery. Good to see you, Shelly. Haven't talked to you in a while. The Super Unknowns here, along with the Coin 405. We got from Northern Idaho, 2 midgets on a horse. Hopefully you guys have been seeing some of the Aurora Borealis. It's been going on for the last 5 days running. It's about not to happen again tonight. So who else we got there? We got UT Smoke, Water Dragon, and Yankee 58. I think that kind of makes us ready for Disclosure Tonight. Where is that at? And on that note, let me jump right into it. Mike, Disclosure. How's it going, my friend?
It's another Friday, and we're going to have a lot to talk about tonight. Should be interesting. We're going to have a Mufon whistleblower, and that's going to keep the conversation pretty lively. And other stuff. That'll be
interesting stuff of Mufon, especially what happened to one of the leadership the other couple of years ago. That's still kind of a salacious story, my friend. But interesting.
No,
oh, you better believe it. Wild things happening, my friend, wild things. But yes, it's great to have to bring out a story of a whistleblower, an insider of Mufon coming forward as a whistleblower for some bullshit things that are going on about some people and some sightings, how it was handled, how they wanted to get it correct, and the retribution that came to the poor gentleman we're about to bring on. Mike, and would that be Jay Albertson?
It actually would be Jay Albertson, a good friend of ours on the show. And he has a lot to talk about with us tonight.
Yeah, Jay, my friend, how are you?
Hey, doing great. How you guys doing tonight? So where do you want me to start? I'll just start from the beginning.
Start from the beginning. I guess you've been a MUFON investigator for a while?
I've been a MUFON investigator for over 8 years now.
Yeah.
Section State Director for Pennsylvania. And I have a field investigator under me, and retired Army Sergeant, 15 years as a weapons of mass destruction specialist.
Oh, fun.
And I got out and I decided to go to MUFON, and I thought, all right, I want to do something for Disclosure. I went into MUFON, started from the beginning, and it was tough from the beginning. We had a lot of cases, and then it slowed down. And I was wondering, why it had slowed down from, I had 6-7 cases a month last year to this year. I'm barely getting 1 or 2 cases like every 3 to 4 months. And I'm like, what is going on? So I started looking around, and I just, poking around the podcast and everything, because I had started one myself. And
right, yeah.
Then I started poking around, and I saw Chris Bledsoe had come out and said that MUFON had done a complete hit job on his case. And
really?
Yes, it was. I'm not sure the exact year that his case was for MUFON, so forgive me on that. But it was 2007 or 2009, somewhere between there.
Okay.
And so MUFON had done a very screwed up job on his case. Pretty much called him out, said he was a fake, liar, fraud, everything in the book. And
but how do we know how they got to those assessments?
We do not. All I know is from what I know from the investigator that was assigned to his case, he actually quit MUFON after this case was closed by someone other than him. He was the field investigator assigned to it. He should have been the only one closing that case, but he said the case got closed as a hoax or something, and either a hoax or it was a natural phenomenon.
Now, did he come up with a ruling of that, or did this come from higher up in the organization?
Well, the rulings are actually done by the field investigator manual. We have a manual that describes everything, natural phenomenon to man-made to asteroids to, interstellar. Everything is in there in the book. So as far as it went with that, the guy came out and said, as soon as that case got closed with the MUFON case got closed, that guy had left MUFON. The field investigator left because of what happened. Then, as soon as he left MUFON, he told Chris Bledsoe what happened in MUFON. And he came out on Joe Rogan and said, oh, it was a total hit job. CIA had compromised MUFON. Yep, there you go. And there was people that were in MUFON that were compromised as well. I can say that for a fact that there is, and we're still working to get out the people that we're trying to get out. Our system was even hacked into. It was a year and a half ago. We were down for about 8-9 months because the whole CMS case management system got hacked into.
And they didn't have a backup.
No, we didn't have any backup.
So did they delete the data? Did they?
No. Apparently they were in the system and they had locked everyone else out with the master user ID and locked everyone else out. And when we were trying to log in, it was just taking us to an empty page.
Right.
So they circumvented the system. And then we had, we can talk offline because I can't say this on air, but I know who hacked into the system.
Really? Did they once they were in the system, was it a information where they're trying to siphon stuff out, or was it just to piss off the leadership?
It was information gathering. They couldn't get the information they wanted from leadership, so they circumvented the system. They went straight to the source. They went straight to CMS. They locked us out. They took what they wanted, and then they left the system. And then when we investigated, we found the back tracing and all that and what they did, but they found out who it was. And yeah. And then nothing was done on it, though. Here's the thing, though. CMS got reopened. The field investigators were told that we were not allowed to question what went on when the CMS went down. And we just moved on as if nothing happened, which is ridiculous. So then after that, so I started seeing Chris Bledsoe coming out on all these podcasts and saying like MUFON did this hit job on him, and he had come out and said that, pretty much we ruined his life. We're saying that he was a fraud and everything. We were pretty credible back then without, the whole CIA thing, but it's a shame. So then I decided, and I was like, okay, well, we need to get ahead of this because it seems like this isn't going to go away. So I said, okay, I wrote up an email and I said, I'm going to write the board and I'm going to write them about the Chris Bledsoe thing that happened on the YouTube channels that I had seen. And and, let them know that it's a very easy situation to remedy. All you have to do is just reopen the case, apologize to the guy, because just tell him, listen, and it's the truth. Back then, we had people in the organization that shouldn't have been in. That's a fact. So you tell them that, and you tell them, we are trying to do better this time. You reopen it, you reinvestigate, and you do a better investigation.
It sounds like it. It sounds like it's just kind of fuzzy. And have you ever reached out and gotten in contact with the original investigator to see if what was actually published was aligned with what had been put forth? And more importantly, was he influenced by anybody?
The original investigator did not come forward, other than through what I've heard through Chris Bledsoe and the podcast that I've seen. He did not come forward. So I don't know exactly who he was at the time, but there it is right there. Oh, one Mufon case. Oh, your Mufon case. Sorry. So I'm not sure the exact investigator's name, but it was on a couple podcasts from Joe Rogan, and let's see, there was a couple that it was on that he was talking about, that the Mufon investigator had quit, had come to him right afterwards, and it's a fact, because you can look in the system and see who was there and who wasn't at the time. I mean, we still have a list of, like, if I were to quit right now, I would still be in the system as the highest position I held, but I just would be inactive.
Right. Highest position you held. Did something happen to your position?
My position currently is being challenged because of the fact that I am speaking out against others that are saying that we should just leave this alone, let dead dogs lie, and don't bring it up ever again. And I don't think that that's the smart way to handle something that you made the mistake. You come out, you say, I apologize, and you go ahead and you reopen the case and you do a better investigation, like I said, and you vindicate the guy by doing that, by saying, listen,
yeah,
we're going to sit down with you. Like, we're not like we were before. We realize that, now, and we're going to reopen it.
Little Bird here behind the scenes was saying, could it have been Richard Lang? The original?
It might have been, but I'm not exactly sure.
Right. Okay. Michael Suck. Actually, Gene. Let's see who some people have their hands up. We've got Michael, and then Gene. Go ahead, Michael.
My question is, Jay, what is the importance of hacking Mufon? What is it that Mufon has that nobody else does?
Data mining. We have over 1 million cases on our CMS system from all over the entire world.
Yeah.
So if they really wanted to, they could do a lot of stuff by putting all those million cases into a AI system and mapping, like for different areas of interest,
Right. But doesn't Mufon share this data with the Fed already?
They have to request.
Yeah. Because I thought they're getting funding from either RO or some other part of the government for access to their data.
At the time that I was in, we were just getting over the Bigelow debacle with money that we had gotten from him.
Oh, for the database that what's his name had put together.
Jacques Vallée.
Jacques Vallée. Thank you, Mike. Yeah.
Yeah. But so I decided, to speak out and, speak out heavy about it against,
right.
All these, and they kept coming back like, hey, leave this alone. And I
right.
said, why would we leave it alone if he's going to keep coming out and saying that we did a bad job on it, and we did. So
And there's a chance to fix it, repair the organization, take the continual negative comments that'll be streaming along forever and just shut it down. But instead of doing that, they freaking demoted you.
Yes, they sent me a change notice in the mail. And that is it. That's all that came. Actually, you can show that if you want.
Which one was it from? The first email or the...
I'm not sure. Just the picture says change notice on it.
All right, give me a second here. I'll shut these three down. I know I've got it here somewhere.
But yeah, I got an email, and saying, or not an email, a letter, just saying, you're getting a change to your status.
Got it.
State, from section state director to just regular field investigator.
But there should be an explanation as why they are demoting you. But there wasn't any, right, Jay?
No, there was none. That was the
Make
only
sure
thing that
there's
came in the letter.
This has got personal information on here, so just give me a second to go ahead and copy and paste some stuff in here.
If I can just jump in the meantime.
Please do.
I mean, Jay, I feel for you. So I first reached out to Mufon when I first got hold of my father-in-law's work, and it was actually Nick Pope that directed me there. And, the response I got was, well, we don't have anyone that can help you, but if you want to send us everything, we'll archive it. Okay. I just kind of set it off to the side. And then once I went with publishing, so I joined as a research member. And it had all of the, this access and things like that you're supposed to get with it. The short of it, since I've been involved, I have zero intention of renewing that research membership with them. Everything I've seen that has to do with that organization is a total absence of leadership, just incompetence, nice enough people. But nice people do not make good administrators and organizers. And the number of times I've heard, well, it's a volunteer organization. My response to that is, well, remember that when your house burns down and the Red Cross doesn't show up to write you a check. They're just volunteers too. I have been so utterly disappointed. The data that was available, that's supposed to be available to research. I mean, it's just ridiculous. It's useless. And like I said, the number of conversations I've tried to have with people, and what really did it for me was finding out that at the headquarters level, there was somebody there. He was a regional leader of some kind who was a scientist, worked in the former Soviet Union as a researcher or as a translator in the embassy. And I thought back to the years prior to say, this guy is supposed to be a senior person in your organization, and whoever responds to that has no idea. All across the board, Jay. I mean, so what you're saying doesn't surprise me to think that the investigator side of it is any better organized. And it's just been an utter disappointment. I don't get, maybe at some point in history they were great. I don't get what the big deal is now.
Yeah.
Well, not only that, but it sounds like not only are they disorganized, Gene, but it seems like, in the immortal words of Tim Burchett, it's a cover-up. Yeah. With what they've been doing with Jay and other issues that Jay had mentioned earlier about the organization. Right. It seems like this is an ongoing thing.
Right. Now, looking at the document, it says Mufon staff change notice. And then it says Fred Salga.
Yeah, Fred Saluga.
And he said for John...
Yeah.
Devante or whatever it is. And it almost sounds like this guy was doing it in lieu of this particular individual.
It's sending it. He's sending it along, I think, to those two people, changing it. It's like a forward to.
No, but
those two. So
no, I
goes
would.
to
I
him.
guess it could, but it almost sounds like that it's the director who's authorizing it. These are the people who would be authorizing it potentially.
Assistant State Director is Fred Saluga, and John Duchette is the State Director of MUFON in Pennsylvania.
Right. And as this is noted as inform MUFON HQ of the following change. They are changing you an effective date of September 15th, 2025 from something to CFI2.
Yeah, but then if you look to the side, it's Section State Director is checked. So
right, yeah. So they're demoting you,
yep.
but there's no reason.
Yeah, and then at the bottom it says SSD to SFI2.
Is that an S or is it CFI2?
Or CFI, yeah. Certified Field Investigator 2.
Certified Investigator. There we go. Gosh, this person can barely write. Got to be 80. And then Pennsylvania, they gave you your phone number and everything, but no reason, no nothing. Did you reach out to them and ask what the hell happened?
I have reached out with email. I have not heard back. I am looking into the MUFON bylaws right now to see if, Mike had told me to look into MUFON bylaws to see if there is a bylaw that they have to give me a reason for change of status.
Right. So it sounds like this has been coming for a bit because they had gone and reduced your caseload, and after they reduced your caseload, then this came along in the mail without any word.
Yes. Yep. There was nothing. It's like I showed you. I showed you the letter. I opened it, and there was just that in there.
Yep.
So I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna give it another few weeks, and if I do not hear back from MUFON at all, I'm gonna gracefully leave the organization and continue to speak out, like I've been doing.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's what you have to do. That's why you're talking about it here. That's why we're taking this as the lead story for today. There's been a lot of things that have come out about MUFON, not the greatest organization. Even there's people who used to be part of it on X, like Linda Thompson. She was in it for a while as an investigator, and after she was dealing with some of the leadership, she got the hell out of town, for that matter.
Oh, yeah, and they don't take any advice, because as a also now here's another reason now as a section state director you have you also have perks that come along with it. I could contact the board directly, and that's what I was doing as a section state director. Right. So as a CFI2, I have to go through the section state director to contact the board about my opinion or about what I want to do now.
I would never have to go through someone since they already screwed with you, and I'd go directly to the board.
No, but that's the way they would set it up, though,
Yeah, they've already screwed with you, so screw them and their fiefdom for that matter.
Yeah, exactly. I've also I've reached out to Chris myself and formally apologized myself for not even for MUFON, just for the job that they had done investigating, because hell, Baby could have done a better job. Did
you see the reports they did on him?
I did not, but I am being told that they will be being given to me. Chris Bledsoe is going to be sending them to me, the originals. I want to actually see them myself when I look at them. Yeah.
Sad state of affairs, Jay.
Verify it, but I mean, I don't doubt his story at all, because back then, like I said, we did have people in the organization that were, crooked, and then just recently we had the system go down for 8 months,
Yeah, that's still crazy. 8 months with no back end.
Oh no, nothing. We just started the MUFON Observers Network, which is like a Facebook for MUFON, pretty much.
Right.
So that's a membership cost, and we even had to pay for that as well, being a volunteer.
Of course, but that's how, isn't that how MUFON makes its money? It charges its investigators to take tests, get documents, and to be a member of the organization. It seems like the funding model is kind of outdated.
That and the equipment that the equipment that you need that they don't supply you. Like I have probably about, I don't know, probably about 10 grand worth of equipment in my living room, worth of stuff that I could use to field investigate by myself and start a company.
Mm-hmm.
Thomas, I'd just say, I pulled their 990C because they're a nonprofit just to see, and the 990 tells a lot about the status of that organization and where the money's going, which is essentially their conference.
Oh.
Gotcha.
Okay, so there's different versions of a nonprofit then, or something. I didn't realize. Well, I know there was, but I didn't realize what they were.
So are they?
So as a nonprofit, they have to publish their tax return. I think the last one, was the 23 or 24, and again, it goes to the director's salary, and then everything else seems to get poured into the conference. There doesn't seem to be anything really besides the membership fees that's coming in. You can see the gaps, which they don't have to list as a line item where the money came from, but listening to you early mentioning they got some contracts to provide information that probably accounted for some of the bumps over the past years that I saw.
Is it coming in over a monthly basis, or are they just giving you a summary?
It's essentially the nonprofit tax return.
Right.
So they have to file it at the end of the year. It's called a 990. And it's all spelled out there. So they don't have to list individual donors, but you at least see the breakdown of how much comes in of donations, of services provided, and of membership fees, which is something that nonprofits often skew, because really a membership fee is not a donation, but they'll capture it as a donation, because if a majority of your income does not come from donations, I think it's like 83% of your revenue is not from donations, then you lose your nonprofit status. So organizations, and it looks like probably what they're doing a lot too.
A donation, usually you give a donation and you get nothing really out of it. You're giving to someone, you get a receipt for that at the end of the year. But here it really sounds like that they're taking their donations and it's actually a product. You donate so much money, I guess. But isn't that the way even PBS used to have it in their telethons? And go ahead and donate $500 and you get this great DVD set for this television show.
Right. And so you have to break down the value of those things. So those can be a gift, and you don't necessarily have to make the donation to get the gift or any particular amount. But what they're doing is they are selling training, and you pay for the training, you pay for your membership, and then they're bucketing that, and they're calling some of that, if not all of it, donations.
Gosh, it sounds like creative accounting that an audit could potentially challenge.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's pretty common in the nonprofit world. It's pretty sketchy,
as Paul DeMond calls it out. A little bit shady. You were saying, Jay?
Yeah, and what they do is, from what I understand, is each state is required to pay a certain amount per year. The state director is for that MUFON that runs in that state. Okay, so you have a dues that are due. So you have to run conferences so that you can pay for those dues that the state is owed at the end of the year, that we, as the state director, has to send that cash up to corporate that each state owes each year.
Interesting.
Oh, and what I was going to say was the Bob Bigelow debacle was actually about the STAR team, quick response team money that went missing in MUFON.
I was not aware about that. Fill us in on that.
Bob Bigelow had given MUFON a sizable amount, $500,000 to $800,000, to fully fund a quick reaction star team for MUFON, right?
On. Hey, Tom Whitmore, if you're out there, I'd love to have you here to talk about this on tonight's show. Please jump in.
And now that so what happened was he funded us. He gave all the equipment. He paid for the plane rides. He paid for the hotel. He paid for everything for us to go out and investigate these locations. But however, here's what happened in the end was the investigators got caught up when they investigated the sites. He made them sign NDAs, so they weren't allowed to discuss information that they had investigated at those sites with MUFON. So then MUFON got mad and said, well, then you're just using our investigators. So they pulled back their investigators. And then he said, oh, okay, well, if you're going to pull the investigators, then I'm going to pull the money. And he goes, oh, there's what was it, $120,000 that's missing out of that 800 that I gave you. Where is it? And they can't find it.
Wow.
So we're still doing that, I guess, through sources that I've heard that he still wants that back. And MUFON's still trying to recoup from that. And he was pretty much using the STAR team as his personal investigators to travel around and NDA them.
Oh yeah, of course. Now, NDA him. He was paying the money to go ahead and send these people around and do things, but it sounded like the person who was getting the money potentially wanted to keep it all for themselves.
And that's another reason why you would want to mine the CMS system also, case management system, because it's not only the cases that you're getting, you are getting every single MUFON investigator volunteer's record with what they are good at, their scientific record, what they put in there, their biographies, their phone numbers, their addresses, everything is in there on your personal file, and it's in CMS.
Yeah, and the responsibility of that all comes down to the board for failing to have proper protections put in place.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
100%. And when they found out about the person that did it, they didn't do anything about it. They just moved on and said, well, we're not going to go against this person, so let's just we'll recoup. We'll put better security in place, and they won't be able to do it again.
But it crippled the organization for 8 months without a case management system.
I know. I brought it up, and with the last chief investigator who actually left MUFON as well too. I've been still talking to him, and he was the one that informed me of who actually got into our system, and I was just appalled, and I said, wow, that's just, I don't know, it's dirty pool. When you work with MUFON and you want to, like, you're working with MUFON and then you turn around and do what you did.
Okay.
So that's all I'll say.
Someone comes in the system, locks everybody out, steals all the data potentially, right?
Yep.
Then the board says, oh yeah, we know who it is. Potentially what they said.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they don't go after them. I mean, Jesus, son of a gun, Jay, that sounds like a freaking inside job.
It does. And that's why I also said to a couple people that have been in the organization that the field investigators need to be careful because we get wrapped up in stuff too.
Oh, wow.
Like if we get sent out to a property and MUFON says, oh yeah, you're good to go out there. And you go out there and you're on private property investigating on that property and some guy comes out with a shotgun. You're not supposed to be there. Like, wow. Like, it never happened to me, but I'm just saying, like, they send you out places and they have you investigate these places, but there's no real investigative experience. You could take Joe Schmo off the street, say, take this investigator test, and he could be an investigator tomorrow.
Seems pretty easy. Yeah, because they can do what they want, really.
Yeah. So I'm going to wait, like I said, a week or two, and then I'm going to gracefully put my notice in and leave and put my, yeah.
Mike, from an investigative standpoint, what are your thoughts?
Oh, it's a real shit show, Thomas. Excuse me. They have no management.
Hold on.
No
Breathe.
organization.
Get your
Yeah, I know.
cough, breathe, get rid of their upper respiratory. We've got time.
Yeah, I've been fighting with this all week. Yeah. They have no organization. They are mismanaged. And it seems like there is a degree of corruption going on within the organization. And on top of that, it sounds to me, based on what Jay has been explaining to us, they're covering it up. So,
Oh, 100%.
right. So nobody is investigating this from the outside looking in. It's a nonprofit, which, like Gene mentioned, they're sketchy because they are. And there's very little oversight to a private 501c3 or any type of nonprofit. So they get away with murder to a degree. It also sounds like a bit of a scam because they have each state operating a franchise of Mufon, and they have to kick in and pay dues to the central main nationwide
Yes.
Mufon, right?
Yes.
So what does the national headquarters or, corporate, central corporate for Mufon, what do they actually contribute to the organization for the state that brings in the income? What are they getting?
Well, what they're telling us is that they're using this money for lobbying purposes, for the UFO, disclosure and everything, and also for. I know for a fact that we just spent $500,000 to $600,000 on a brand new upgrade to our lab down in Missouri, Mufon's lab. We have a level 1 lab or a level 2 lab or something like that down in Missouri now.
Okay. So in the 8 years that you've been there, what exactly has that lab been used for?
One time for me, for a case that I had that was a UAP landing site that I had gotten injured on. But other than that, I don't think we use it for a whole lot.
Right. So it sounds to me like a cover for the funds that are collected nationwide, and it doesn't seem like they're actually doing anything with it. So this is sounding more and more like a scam to me, and it's not good because Mufon is recognized by the public, but it doesn't seem like they're doing anything other than scamming the people who are participating, collecting dues, and covering up their mismanagement and the money that they have coming in. They don't really know what they're doing with it or where it's going or see any results of anything. So have you considered, when you leave the organization and you have your own show, that you could maybe turn up the heat and really point these things that we're talking about now tonight out for the public? Because I think that the public has a right to know what's going on with them before they get sucked into it.
100%, I plan on doing it. And, with the Bob Bigelow thing, back to that was that I actually looked it up. I had to look it up here. It was, it's the Robert Bigelow's funding a MUFON STAR team, strike team for area research, and then subsequent government work for the Pentagon's ATIP program. It's a Bob Bigelow, while working with a government contract to study UFOs, also secretly funded a MUFON investigation unit using the same public money alleged without full disclosure to either party. However, the reality is more complex. Bigelow used his own personal funds to sponsor the STAR team and not the government's ATIP money directly. So it's like we're caught in like this vicious circle between Bigelow, the government, and where the money went.
And whose money it was exactly.
Exactly, because I honestly don't know exactly what went on back then because I wasn't part of the organization back then. I just know what happened back then.
Right. So if you're going to investigate this from the outside, I would suggest looking into the board members, looking into their finances, and seeing how it commingles or ties in with MUFON and the organization. You might find some red flags there. I suspect.
Yeah, I mean, just jumping over into ChatGPT that we all love so much. Wired magazine even covered this debacle back in the time. It said if we were this is what Bigelow said, if we're able to fund you so you could put investigators on the ground faster, Harzen, than MUFON executive recalls Bigelow offering, could you get better data on some of these reports? Together, MUFON and Bigelow supported investigators' fact-finding expeditions and shared data, though for less than a year. So collaboration went on, but it was brief, as you were saying.
Yes. Yeah, it was really brief because as soon as MUFON found out that we weren't getting any scientific data back from any of these investigators, and then we tried to reach out to them and they all had NDAs, then MUFON said, well, you're not getting any more. And then he said, okay, where's the money at then? And I guess MUFON had lost some or mismanaged some.
And this comes out of money, I guess, back in 2008, where Robert Bigelow was contracted by the U.S. government for and his BAAS to go ahead and research UFOs at that period of time, and the money actually came from the feds. However, MUFON was never told that the money was actually coming from the Pentagon. You think that could be part of what they got upset about?
There's a lot of things to be upset about that.
Yeah, but still, I don't know. They've got a lot of stuff in here, but you know, the whole thing, misplacing $120,000 in funding is nothing to misplace. I mean, at that point, you do investigations to all the people who had access to it, and look at all their personal finance records. Did they suddenly start buying more cars, going on more lavish trips, et cetera, et cetera?
Well, I know I'm in contact now with the state director down in Florida of MUFON, and he had just gotten. The state director of Florida left, and he was just a field investigator, and he was like, well, I'll take the state director position, you know? He went up and took it, and he called me up on the phone. He goes, I need some advice, Jason. I'm like, what's going on? He goes, where do I get this money that's owed every month that the state owes corporate? And I said, what are you talking about? And that's how I found out about each state owing money to corporate. Like, each state has their own MUFON. The state director runs that state how he determines. And then as long as he has the money that he owes to corporate at the end of the year, then nothing happens. You know?
So I think this is called the SIP project, right? It was the Star Team Impact project under the MUFON BASS contract, which is funded by Bigelow. Over the life of the project, MUFON received about $324,000 in payments spread over 10 months from BASS. The contract was originally more generous. The full deal could have paid $672,000 in a year, but the money was never delivered. MUFON reportedly spent roughly $25,000 per month on SIP operations. Because of lower than expected funding, at some point MUFON ended up having to accumulate about $120,000 in savings, such as funds not spent that were earmarked for the SIP project. Now, conflict arose when Bigelow reviewed MUFON's expenditures and found discrepancies between MUFON's monthly spreadsheet financial reports and their bank statements and bookkeeping. So Bigelow did the good stuff. He looked into the details. He saw that money was going in places it shouldn't and almost disappearing. So Bigelow's auditors requested bank statements and accounting, and it was reported that MUFON, or leadership, responded by handing over the internal books, like QuickBooks, etc. After the audit, Bass cut off other funding. They reduced monthly payments and then stopped altogether. So it sounds like this wasn't potentially Mufon pulling the plug on it. It looks like it's even worse. It's Bigelow and Bass pulling the plug, because when they did the audits, money was showing up missing that it shouldn't have been. So Mufon then had to continue operations without external funding, which strained their finances heavily because he spent the money on something they shouldn't have. Now, according to the article, the $120,000 in savings was a key sticking point. Bass believed that the money should have been spent under the terms of the SIP contract, while Mufon believed it had the right to retain the execs or to allocate it. The contract wording, as claimed, was ambiguous. So there's Bigelow saying the money that was coming in was for the work on this project.
Yep.
But they were taking the money and pushing it into other places. And Bigelow said, bullshit. This is supposed to go into the quality of our work product, right?
Yes, exactly.
Oh, I'd be pissed off as if I was doing something for Disney, right? A video game, or for someone else like Green Eggs and Ham, and I'm getting the money coming in for that project, but I'm taking that project to fund, what's this? I have no idea. Guitar Hero 5. I'm getting the money for doing this, but I'm creating this with the money, and I'm not getting done what I should get done here because the money that's flowing into here is going over to this other project. And that's exactly what they're doing. They were taking the money from Peter to pay something for Paul.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, they couldn't give back the money because they were spending it on something else. So yeah, they got the rug pulled out of them, rightly so.
That sounds like one big shit show.
Oh, it does.
The Mufon investigator, the state director down there, told me, he said, well, I don't know how I'm going to come up with these funds at the end of the year that I have to pay corporate. And that was at the beginning of the year. And I told him, well, normally what we do is we hold, conferences and stuff. People pay, money to get in or admissions. And that's what we use to pay and the volunteers. But see, the volunteer money doesn't actually go to the state. Like, say I'm in Pennsylvania and my dues for the year that's due, I think, is like $80.
Mm-hmm.
So I pay that $80. That doesn't go to the state. That goes to corporate. So that doesn't count towards the state's money that's owed at the end of the year. I think it's like $1,200 or $1,500 a year that each state has to pay, or each state or each division, because we have other places around the world,
Yeah. Yeah, I understand where Bigelow's coming from, and I'm glad he did when he did, because it sounded like the money he was investing in this organization was being put in the wrong place. It's I would say, if anything, Jay, I know you love your job there and everything, but maybe I wonder if there's other organizations you could look at besides MUFON, because you do have the equipment, you do have the experience, and there's stuff where it could go, but it's just like you're not truly appreciated for the job that you do, for the personal investments in both equipment and time to the organization. They're just not appreciating it.
I've been looking into the International UFO Bureau. Actually, they were formed by 4 or 5 different female investigators that were high level that left MUFON in the last probably 6 months to a year and formed their own organization. They want to do it right, they said.
Yeah. Sounds interesting. Gene, go ahead.
We have some hands up, Thomas.
Gene first, and then
it's definitely in the there's something there in the money. There needs to be some proper audit or something called for, by the public, or because even here in Massachusetts, I was going to sponsor something, and the state MUFON didn't even have their own separate bank account. They're not even set up as their own individual nonprofit with the state to be able to do anything to legally raise money So, if it's a similar case in other places and these organizations are, and the state organizations are raising money, they can't necessarily do that under MUFON's tax ID number. They need their own bank account. So there is, I wrote it earlier about a hot mess. It's perhaps even bigger than a hot mess going on there.
Oh, yeah.
It's a shit show, Pete.
Yeah.
Which obviously Jay is explaining to us. So, yeah, that organization has had problems time after time, and I don't think it's going to get any better.
Yeah.
So maybe, Jay, you should also consider opening up in Pennsylvania your own organization.
Yeah.
And doing it right.
Yeah,
You have the equipment.
I've also been looking into a couple others. The Vertex Foundation is another one that is starting. It's technology assisted consciousness exploration studies.
It's interesting. But
Yeah,
I
so I'm
think
gonna.
we're talking about consciousness.
Well-
It's a little outside the scope of UAP.
As
Oh, yeah.
as Laura Campbell brings up in the chat, didn't Bigelow get all the UFO reports? Yes, they actually did pay a lump sum of money to get the entire copy of the case management system from MUFON to go to Bigelow as well. So there were several deals going back to OSAP at that time.
Yes, and like I said, you can pretty much, okay, if you have all these records and you're Bigelow, you can go in there and say, okay, I need a biochemist, and you can say, okay, who is a biochemist and volunteers for MUFON? We have lawyers, scientists, military guys from all over the place. Bigelow just sits there, goes in his system, and says, oh, biochemist, and here it pops up his name, and he can automatically go to that person and say, I need you for this because of your expertise.
Yeah, worst case, you can go ahead and open up a Pennsylvania version of Bombshells.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I think this has got to be Lou Elizondo with the bartender, or maybe someone who's visiting. This was Red Panda Koala, who's in the chat right now, brought this up today, and I saw this, and yes, Lou is vibing and thriving. Looking a bit more fit these days, Mike.
Awesome.
Yeah, he is. I saw the picture of him. He seems to be, especially when he's at the bar, he seems to be in good spirits and looking more lively than we've seen him recently.
I need to find out what the house signature drink is, and we need to do a video on how to make it.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Oh, yeah.
We'll be able to find out.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. All right.
Good work, Jay. That was really covered a lot with that organization.
Oh, it's not a problem. I told you before, Mike, when I spoke out on my podcast before about Skywatcher and people gave me crap about it, I was like, now look what came out. Skywatcher's all under NDAs anyway. I was right.
Right. Yeah, you were right.
Yeah.
That is another organization that, to say the least, is questionable. They've made a lot of grand promises, and so far, they have as of yet to deliver any of it. Okay,
here's one for you, Mike. If you go back to that Ross Coulthart interview about the landing, and you watch it again, right? This is what he says. Ross says that two psionic agents went off by themselves with no recording equipment,
right? And
went out there and called a UFO down. And then he said, about a few minutes later, he says in the interview, but we're going to try to have them on and get as much videos as we can. Didn't you just hear yourself? They went out by themselves and called this UFO down, and there is no video.
Well, it sounds to me like it's another Jake Barber mystery, because if they have teams out there with proper recording equipment like cameras, tripods, the usual, they're unsuccessful. They're not able to call anything down. It becomes a dead night. But on the other hand, if they do send investigators out without any equipment whatsoever, that's usually their busiest times.
Well,
I
Mike
can't
Batista
quite-
also states in his podcast interview that he can call down a city-sized UFO anytime he wants.
By all means, please then do it.
But that's what he says. He said, but he doesn't want to do it because he doesn't want to freak people out.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, not a good sign if you ask me. It sounds like the grift is on.
Podcast.
It's just too much grifting out there, Jay. It
I
doesn't
just want to
stop.
be told the truth. Like, shit, like, no more trust me, bro. Okay, I'm sick and tired of that. I mean, I understand firsthand knowledge is great. Even secondhand, if you heard it from someone that was right there, okay, cool. But I want to see something, not a blurry video that a child could take with a balloon in the background.
Oh, I'm with you, brother. You're absolutely right about that.
Like,
But that seems to be all we're getting. Yeah.
I've got a video right now that I'll send to Thomas that I did a CE5 here, and I have an orb above my house in 6K Ultra HD zoomed in all the way, and you can see it perfect.
Oh, love to see it.
Yeah, definitely. Bring it. We'll look at it on the show.
Oh, yeah.
We love to see videos that are up close and not something far, far away.
Oh,
Let me
yeah.
see if I can get to that, and I'll send it now.
Yeah, that would be great. Michael, thank you for being patient. You have a question for Jay?
For Jay and yourself, Michael,
Sure.
did anybody look at the fact that possibly the computer break-in was an inside job?
Yeah, Thomas
Yes.
made that point already. But go ahead, Jay.
Yes, we believed it was back in then. It was an inside job. We had people that were affiliated with other government. Because to be a MUFON, you can be anybody. You don't necessarily have to tell them, "Hey, I'm from the government, from this agency."
Hey, are you aware of any people from Oman who are involved in MUFON?
Not myself, no.
All right.
I'm not aware.
I thought I'd ask.
Corporate might have more information on that, but we're not going to get it from them. That's for sure.
I'm just asking, Mike. You know, sometimes you need to ask the serious questions.
And sometimes it connects to places you least expect.
Yep. That's why you have those
agree.
murder boards, Mike, to figure out what are the lines that connect with stuff.
Right. How does it connect? Who does it connect to? What it's all about. Big picture kind of stuff.
And
So-
I also wonder if the computer break-in, if it was an inside job, is connected to the money.
Well, Jay was saying that it was, they knew who it was. They didn't do anything about it. But from what I remember, he was saying it was metadata. So all of the members, their personal information, over 1 million people who were part of that,
Right, yeah.
they were doing it to get the information, Michael.
Right.
They were doing it so they could sit there and they could skim over it. Like I said, if like it's not just like members, like you don't just get case information, you get member information, like their biography, what they went through, the college they went to.
You know, Jay, I need to introduce you to a fellow Pennsylvanian, Attorney V. Eaves. Michael is in the chat right now. He's also from Pennsylvania. Maybe a good person to talk with. Also an experiencer.
That's a good idea.
Oh, it is.
All right, Thomas, I was able to send that to you on email, so I sent it to Thomas Fessler.
Give me a second. There.
Yep. So,
which one did you send it to? The ThomasFesslerChannel at gmail.com?
yeah, I think so, yep.
Here you at. There it is. Wait, there it is. close-up of orb. All right, let's download the video. It's only a megabyte in size. Let's get to that one.
It's a 6K Ultra HD camcorder that I was using.
Yeah, but it does
Really?
the file itself don't look that way. But let's go ahead and bring it down anyway, and let's bring it up and show it. So you recorded this, right?
Yep.
All right, let's go ahead and get this out of the way. Let's get the image there. The info, this image that this video that you sent me, though, although it's an Ultra HD, this is only 720 by 812.
Well, it's probably from sending it through the computer.
Either way,
Compression.
and everything else.
I'll have to make sure to give you the HD version.
Yeah, whenever you want to
That's
share
about the
things,
camcorder.
zip it up first and then send it.
Okay, that's probably what it is.
So the kind of image of how it looks here with the lines and stuff going on it, I've seen people recording over the Black Sea stuff that looks like this, and it's actually planets off in the distance. Not saying much, it's just an effect of the camera trying to zoom in on something and trying to image something, and this is the
Could be
kind
a
of
lens
stuff.
effect, yeah.
Now, what are we exactly looking at here? Walk our audience through it again.
Well, it's moving from my window, from my viewpoint, and it's moving off to the left, above the tree line, at a slow pace. I'd
Right.
say I can't say really distance because it was night. You need 3 points of or at least 3 points for distance and all that.
Right. Either way, it's something that's a very bright object. It's moving from left to right out over where you're looking at. How long how long did you see it for the overall? I know this video is 34 seconds long, but how long were you actually going ahead and looking at this thing?
It was a good maybe 5 minutes, and then it had disappeared through the mountainous area.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I just remembered about this one. Oh, God, it's going to be lost in a bunch of them.
And then I also had a couple from Mountaintop, actually, when they're starting to see drones over in Mountaintop, PA. They're about bus size.
Yeah. Hey, Mike Morris, I know you're out there. Can you send me on text message the video? I just found it, I think, right now. Here we go. I got it. This is a UFO video that also came out recently. This is from the attorney of the EBES, Mike Morris. He's in the chat right now. This is actually an orange orb that he had seen flying over by his house when he was out with a walk for his wife. And this really looks like the same kind of orbs. They're traveling in a straight line. They're completely silent. They're about 300 to 400 feet overhead. And they're there on a regular basis. And Mike found one of these on a walk right near his house.
Wow.
Yeah. He actually got the color a lot better than mine because he's got a newer iPhone. But still, you can hear the frogs and everything in the distance. There's no noise from that at all. You can see it going behind the trees. Yeah, and yours is amazing as well. So we've got this one going in Pennsylvania, and this is another one from Pennsylvania. So when was this one taken?
That was taken in June.
Right, and the one I just saw was probably within the last week or two.
Okay.
And this one was bright white when you were seeing it?
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of orbs, like just orb sightings everywhere. And I'm not sure if it's like just what they're saying, that it's like they're investigating us, or
if I had my phone with me, a lot of times you'll see an orb. How do I have to do this? I have nothing here to do this with. All right, here we go. You'll see an orb off in the distance, right? And it's a bright light, and it's a bright light. It's getting closer, and it's getting closer, and it's getting closer, and then you get the detail of what it is because it got closer to you, right?
Yeah.
But the problem
This
is
was
when it gets
directly
so
above
far
my house
away,
now.
our cameras in our eyes only see it as something that looks like an orb, but then as it gets closer, then you get to see what's really there. So a lot of times when people are going ahead and saying, oh my God, we've got something, it transformed from an orb into an actual craft. No, it was an actual craft the entire time. It's just people don't understand the optics of how observing something with visual light actually works.
It is very true, and it doesn't matter how high of a camera, even if this was HD quality right now, if you were looking at a solid light, it would still give you the same thing right now. If you were looking at a light coming at you and it was an airplane or something, you would see that, you know.
There's only so much light can go based on your distance from it and what you're going to see, and eventually all those things that make it up will merge, instead of being merged together into a blob, start to rectify because of the distance from the object from you.
That was when the last time we had talked about this. There was a UFO, an orb over New Jersey that some people were saying transformed into a plane, but what had happened was it was a plane. You just couldn't see it. It was a bright light, and then once it got over like the city area and the city lights and everything, were lighting up sky or whatever. It lit up that area, and you could see it a little bit better. And you were like, "Oh, there's definition there. It's a plane," and you could see the plane then.
Yeah. Exactly. So, thanks for showing this. Hopefully, you know what?
Oh yeah, no problem.
Stuff like this. If it's a non-human intelligence, there's patterns. There's pathways that they follow on a regular basis, no different than you'd have of animals running through a forest or through a meadow, and you can see the path where they're going for. If you know the time when you saw it, just start going outside more regularly around that time and see if you can see it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And get it on video.
Yeah. Always take your iPhone with you.
Camera or whatever you have, just get it.
And take it with you wherever you go and just get used to bringing it up and recording something if it's there. Yeah. Trust me, I've had enough times I've gone out front and said, oh, fuck, it's a UFO going across one of those orange orbs. You're running back in the house to find what you need to come out and actually record it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Right. Interesting, Jay. I appreciate all your insight, and I'm sorry for the shit that you've put together and the different things you've been dealing with from MUFON. It's totally bullshit. And although I'm not involved with the organization, I apologize for their stupidity and treating someone who's such a great resource, who has a passion for this, to demote him and make him want to leave the organization without even talking to you or bringing you into it or telling you why. It just shows total weakness in their organization.
Yes, it does, Thomas. But that also shows that I have value, and my value can be used somewhere else.
Yeah. Exactly. Absolutely. Now let's get into our next piece right now. Our top of the story today was actually not Beyond Jay, but on our title card for tonight's show. What did I have up? Let me bring it up and say, oh yeah, we're going to be talking about drone chaos has spread across Europe, my friends. And yes, it has. But before we get to Europe, let's go ahead and get into Here we go, Thomas. Mike, here we go. We got something going on. This came in about 2 hours ago. I saw this when the show was coming in. Ukraine has launched a major suicide drone attack on Russia. You can see from everywhere in Ukraine, they have a bunch of drones going out in different areas. We're clearly dealing with a different type of battlefield these days, aren't we?
We are, and it sounds like an escalation on a big scale against Russia.
They don't have jet fighters. They don't have strategic bombers, but they have these little things called drones, and they're making them. They have factories. They're training the people how to solder and how to put all these things together. And their technology is actually evolving, because now they actually even have ones in Ukraine that actually have jet engines on them.
So they're improvising the technology.
Oh, well, they're evolving the technology. Granted, it's not as good as Terminator 2 or 3 or any of the ones that went along with Sarah Connor and stuff and everything from the future. It's getting there. It's evolving.
Yeah, it's going to change things
Yeah.
for the military.
All right. We're going to go through my Twitter feed. Yes, there have been some. This is from Iceland yesterday. Amazing aurora borealis going on. It's just been a visual feast. We'll throw these in there as we're getting through it. All right, Denmark. In Denmark, Defense Minister, bring this down a little bit. Trolls claims that Russia is waging a hybrid war against NATO and the West. He revealed that Russian warships have been even pointed weapons at Danish ships and helicopters while repeatedly sailing on collision courses through the Danish Straits. Mike, that sounds like China's game, what they're doing up against
Taiwan.
Not Taiwan, up against the Philippines.
Oh, yeah, the Philippines.
In the Red Sea.
Yeah, they've been actually going after the boats out of the Philippines with their Coast Guard cutters and firing across the bow of these ships.
Yeah. Well, they have giant water cannons and all this kind of stuff. I remember seeing one about a month ago where one of the Philippine ship was having the other one get out of there. He cut out of the way and basically had two Russian ships go ahead and collide at full speed. It was beautiful.
Schmucks. Yep.
Yeah. Now, we call them schmucks. You could call them fucktards, but that's not a nice word. You could call them pop-tarts instead, but you know what we're talking about.
Yeah. No, I get it.
Oh, yeah. All right. Let's see where else we're at.
World.
So, all right. So, swarming drones, as Hollywood says over on X. OS INT, he's an intelligence defender, said there were 15 unidentified drones, flew in swarms over Ellisborn, Buchenbach air base in Belgium last night before entering German airspace. So here's Brussels for the capital of Belgium. Here's where they're at, and they're on their way in. So it goes well beyond this. Let's continue on. All right. So Munich Airport has been closed once again to traffic due to drone activity, effective until 0300 UTC. But this was actually extended to 5 a.m. German time until they're going to open the airport. So this is breaking. This is coming from Strand and OS Intelligence, going ahead and saying a NOTAM has now been issued. The main airport is actually closed till 5 a.m. local time. So a note, I believe this is just a notice for airmen to let them know that, yes, this is going on. And Mike, they're having to divert all commercial traffic away from these major European airports.
So it seems like an air safety threat and a disruption of normal operations for their citizens.
Yep.
Yeah, this is an escalation. It's bullshit. It shouldn't be going on right
One of
now.
the problems are, in Europe, like in the United States, they have to change the laws before they can shoot down the drones. So not even all these countries in Europe have the ability for local, state, or government, like military. No one can shoot these drones down because their laws prohibit it.
Except Poland. Poland shoots them down.
Oh, Czechoslovakia has also come out today. They've got people out there ready with machine guns because we'll get to one of those stories. Yes, there are some drones even coming into the Czech Republic at this point, and they're not standing for shit. Their laws, they don't fucking care. They're going to shoot these things down. Let's move on. So here's another one coming on the night of October 3rd. Yes, Elsborn military base in Belgium. Also, they got a swarm of drones. I like my title card better, but same kind of things. Yes, folks, they're drones. They're not UAP. This is probably Russia teamed up with like China. China is probably the most likely source of this technology.
Didn't they just capture that Russian oil tanker off the coast?
Yes, but there's but as I go through this feed, there are other Russian frigates and other things out there that are still going on in the straits around Denmark at this point. So
you're
here we
not
go.
Catch them all, but I mean, you will catch a few of them if you're doing the patrols that they were doing with, and then they call it that one.
And if you look where Munich is, holy shit, that's really far in. But Munich airport has been forced to shut down for a second night in a row due to a swarm of unknown drones flying over. But here's the thing, folks. These drones can be launched locally if they need to. They could have brought them in there. Mike, Europe has more open borders than the United States has right now. So any of these things could have been brought in and pre-positioned for these activities to happen.
Yes, you are 100% correct, because that's what Ukraine did to Russia. They prepackaged into containers and then had them delivered to the locations and then sent them out.
Bingo. So on our next one, coming from Jürgen Edit. Jürgen, I think that's how you say it. Scandal: enemy drones can move freely over Germany for hours before reaching the Munich airport grounds. Unknown drones initially circled Bundeswehr, Germany Army facilities. The first drones, before they paralyzed operations at Munich airport, were reported at 7:30 p.m. over the Erding Air Base. The Bundeswehr's Innovation Center, where new generation drones are tested, located there. So, Mike, here you go. They appeared at the place where Germany is doing all their drone research first. They're going on a tour.
Yep. They're conducting surveillance operations to see what's going on.
So according to witnesses, the wingspan of unknown drones was between 60 centimeters and 1 meter. They're small. Ross Colhart, who said these things are bigger than the A380, which is it's bigger than a 747.
Right. There's no way.
Oh man, he is. What happened to Ross? He went from someone who was kind of credible, and he's turned total tabloid journalist. But is that where ufology has turned to just tabloids these days, Mike? Is that why I feel dirty when I report on a lot of this shit these days?
Yeah. It's why we're also now covering geopolitics and conflicts around the world and what's going on here within.
Do I need to start making shocked faces that I have to put on the title cards for the show? Oh my God. I've been practicing in my mind, yeah.
Well, listen. When the UAPDA was shot down for the third and final time.
Oh, yeah.
And Congress is falling all over itself and is a real shit show with that. Disclosure is not moving forward at this point.
Hey, Mike, talking about subscribers, did you actually realize Red Paniquala 2, his YouTube account is actually a subscriber to Disclosure Tonight?
Yes. We knew that when he first came in.
Oh, I know. Just saying that. I had to bring it up, my friend, but go ahead.
Yeah, there we go.
And anyway, if you're watching, we're over an hour into the show. You're having a good time. Do us a favor, folks. If you haven't subscribed yet, please give us a subscribe. Because why, Mike?
Oh, because we give you a double your money back guarantee. You're not happy. It's for the cost is free, but we'll give you double your money back.
Yeah.
Can't lose. Win-win situation.
Exactly. So,
especially if you like our content. Yes.
So, Mike, really quick, according to witnesses, the wingspan of the unknown drones was between 60 centimeters and 1 meter. The first sightings were made in Erding near Munich, then the airport, which is only 8 kilometers away. These drones were seen over the airport at 8:30 p.m. There could have been up to 6, but the Bundeswehr has confirmed 5. The drones were last seen at around 11:30 p.m. Man, they just need to get out there, Mike, and just shoot this shit down.
Yeah. Yep, they do.
Oh, yeah. Where are we at next? We got more. All right, here we go. This is an interesting international civil aviation organization today condemned Russia for that, but we'll look at this. They think they found there's a jammer going on in Russia since December 15th. Aircrafts have suffered from navigational errors over the South Baltic Sea and off. By plotting and assuming max jamming range for the bad position, there is one area standing out, Mike. It's Kaliningrad.
Okay.
So they've been using technology from Kaliningrad to go ahead and block GPS over the entire Black Sea.
Really?
Yeah. And Kaliningrad is controlled by who?
Russia.
There you go.
Yep. It connects the dots.
But
Well,
we're
we
not
knew
talking
that.
about the made-up fantasy Russia collusion. We're talking about the Russian exclusion of that. Gene Sticko, you have your hand up, my friend? Or we
Yeah, I
pop
was
you up?
just going to say, so Kaliningrad is it's a strategic Russian nuclear port as well. And
Right.
as you can see on the map, it was it's annexed off. So anytime Putin wanted to do anything in Kaliningrad, he'd have to mother may I to NATO through Lithuania normally.
Yeah. But Poland has completely shut down their borders, put up the barbed wire, and said, fuck you. No one's coming in here from Kaliningrad anymore.
And if they do, they'll shoot them right down.
Yeah. Yeah, they didn't like all the illegals coming in through Kaliningrad. All right, we're at. Okay. Notams, we've got that. Oh, Mike.
What?
We got a bunch of clips of our friend, the new whistleblower over at
Dylan Boland.
Dylan over at the Weaponized podcast. Want to watch some clips?
Oh, let's please.
So
do.
Dylan Borland confirms the quiet part here. Some UFO post conversations on X are an IC attempt to control the narrative. Yes. And I actually heard this today on the space from Red Panda talking about it today. And it's true. Mike, you've run into this before, right? When you go ahead and put a post up there at times on X,
Yeah.
you get freaking flooded by people telling you to take down the post. You're putting people's lives at risk. That's happened to you in the past, hasn't it?
Oh my God, yes, it has. We've covered this on the show when it was.
Yes,
going.
we have. And I don't agree with it as much as some of the people out there on X who have all their shows. It's a bunch of bullshit, and it just shows you how there's this echo chamber. But more like it, Mike, you have this secret college of people who get together on Signal, and they have their little groups. A lot of people in the UK who are involved in this, and others in the United States, and of course, Tijuana, Mexico, of course, who are involved in this group, who act as a coordinated, if you want to call it central mind, to censor people that if things are coming out that they figured, oh, you can't bring it out, you can't talk about that. You're putting someone's life at risk. They attack you in DMs telling you to shut down the truth. And it's completely wrong.
Oh, it is. And it's not something that should be going on, but it seems like the government and propaganda has been overtaking social media. So it's unfortunate, but it also seems to be what's been going on.
It is. And it continues. So let's listen to this first clip here of this broadcast coming out from Weaponized. Let's play this clip.
Yeah.
We got a bunch more. Let's get into it. The next one we're going to play is about biologics. Here we go, folks.
There are people in there that are so anti-UFO,
Hold on.
that come from.
That is really fucking quiet. Let's crank it. Let's get it up and let's enjoy it. Here we go. Put that up there. Let me get the fair use top. Here we go.
There are people in there that are so anti-UFO, UAP that come from very interesting agencies and very interesting locations, and the comments that they put in that chat room somehow are reflected by people on Twitter right now, like verbatim, like I go into work and I see statement and I come out of work and on Twitter is same statement, just saying, a little odd.
Okay, so there's a direct mirror of on inside the intelligence community in a classified realm, and those statements are then echoed onto X.
Oh yeah,
within the same day.
24, 48 hours,
Right.
But whatever they're claiming up in their little argument.
To influence the public debate on UAP.
Oh yeah.
So there is a direct line of intelligence community interaction on X.
In public perception, yeah.
And public perception.
Now, whether or not those people are paid, I can.
Doesn't matter if people
Yes,
get
it
paid.
doesn't
There's a
matter.
lot of motivation.
100%.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. But I know that is being done.
Seen it a bunch more.
So that's really interesting, Mike. We've got a situation going on here where he's going and they're talking about things and should be confidential, secure communications about what's going on. And within a short amount of time of him being there and talking about this, that information is already flowing on X.
Yeah, which is a really bad sign.
Yeah.
This shouldn't be going on at all.
No, it shouldn't. Now, we've heard about biologics in the past coming from David Grush, if you remember.
Yes, we covered that extensively.
Yeah, so now we've got Dylan here talking about biologics from his perspective with Jeremy and George.
Knapp.
You just got to go ahead and thank these guys for the effort they're bringing in. If there's anyone who's centralized in media who's really working hard to bring all this stuff out, we have to give credit to Jeremy Corbell. He deserves it.
And George Knapp. Yeah.
Yeah, both of them. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Did you physically see photos? Did you physically see photos? Did you physically see these documents?
No, but because of how much was given to me and relayed, that the individuals that had relayed it, they were doing so because they were genuinely concerned for their life, because their careers were taken, their houses were broken into. I mean, computers taken, mailboxes gone through that. And again, they knew what I was going through at this time. They had given me enough information, and the agreement was that if they died, that I run with it and just blow the whole thing up.
So he's got his first.
So if he died, Mike, he'd run with it. It's a dead man
great.
switch.
Yeah. That's
If we
what it
can
sounds
really
like.
quick, Rick Roberts, you have your hand up, my friend?
Yeah, I just was wondering, Thomas, if you could do a survey when you get a chance and just see, what does the audience think of Dylan? Does he seem very credible, or does it seem like it's a...
Good point, Rick. We'll give it a try. Let's continue on in the meantime. Thanks, Rick.
First-hand experience of this tech, but then this is something, George, I hear a lot, which is in the legacy, when you're kind of put into the bad camp, you know, you're under scrutiny now, that there are these people that are threatening you, and you do feel afraid for your life. And we'll get to it, but there are some things that occur to you as this gets kind of deeper and deeper with what's happening. But just to be clear, so you're in a place where there's some sort of purgatory going on. Everybody has clearance, but they're in this sort of purgatory. You're in this sort of purgatory, right? And then people directly involved in the legacy program are afraid for their lives, so they're telling you so that you can, at least somebody at their level can take that information if something bad happens to it.
I think it was definitely that, but it was also, this is such an isolating, lonely experience, especially for young people to be exposed to the reality of this. If you already don't have the acknowledgement that it's a possibility, like if you're, I don't want to say closed-minded, if you're average Joe Blow going through life and then all of a sudden this pops up on your radar and you're seeing physical proof of it, you probably take a step back and go, well. So you have that aspect, then these same people have that aspect of it, and they also have the aspect of their government destroying them.
So they are going through the same thing you are.
Exactly.
Their clearances are in limbo, home break-ins, threats,
When I come into contact with these people, they had to resign from their government position and take a contracting job for less money. They were basically blacklisted for 6 months. The only reason they ended up getting a job was because somebody on the legacy program had hooked them up after 6 months. And they ended up where I was at, and they heard me talking all this stuff, and they're like, oh, you ended up here too, buddy. So what the hell is going on here?
It's like the island of bad toys or something like that. You know,
Yeah.
Put them all in one basket.
After I saw what I saw and I've experienced what I've experienced, I think most of us have taken the delve into all of this material. And you're like, I know this is true. I know this is true. I know this is true. Who else is saying these true things? Who else is relaying information that I know to be true to try and make sense of your own life? They were aware of what I was talking about. I don't know the capacity in which they were briefed in. There's things that I knew that these people were aware of, but even they would not say. One of those being biologics.
You think there's a storehouse of that information that anybody would have put something away in case something bad happened to them? And do you know what happened to these people?
You know, the ones that I know still continue in the government. I think They continue to classified operations programs.
They're not coming forward.
They would never come forward in a million years unless they were going to die. And it really sucks for me coming forward, because I only came forward because I sincerely believed they were going to die. Sucks.
Interesting conversation. If we can, my friend, Rick Roberts, we've actually gone ahead and gotten a poll up for our audience. Let me go ahead and bring up the final amounts. I'm going to go ahead and end this. Only 47 people voted. Boo. But you know what? Where did they come out and say 81% of our audience, Rick, is saying, of our audience that actually voted, small percentage, but they did say, are saying that whistleblower Dylan is credible. What are your thoughts?
He reminds me very much of Bob Lazar. There's something that definitely happened. You could tell there's some trauma with him. But Yvette had pointed out today, what he told Congress was that he had no fear for his life. But what he told Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp is that he was in fear for his life, in retaliation. They cut his brake lines. And that seemed like a big discrepancy that kind of just threw a little bit of a red flag.
Didn't Dylan? I saw something with Dylan today where he talked about his brake lines getting cut. Correct?
Yeah, that was one of the big things that came on Weaponized, that they cut his brake lines, but yet they wouldn't put it in the police report. There was no investigation on it. The police just told him to watch his back. That someone had to be after him.
Your vehicle's brake lines have been cut. Watch your back. I think I may have that tagged here for another piece. Gene, you have your hand up, my friend.
Yeah, there's a few things they posted yesterday. I saw his first enlisted performance report, and and it was a good report. What you'd expect of the first one. People are kind of going a little gaga over it because of the detail, and the fact of the matter is, for the job he had, it's the accomplishments are very vanilla. That's what everybody who has that job does. So it's not exclusive to him, like he was the one guy doing this, doing these kind of operations. So they're inflating that a little bit. The thing with the brake lines and the police, again, that starts becoming a little harder to digest, especially, modern times and police ethics and things like that.
Yeah, but we're not talking about police. We're probably talking about federal or black agencies who are going ahead and doing these things. It's the same reason that there were people who were, if you want to call it, compromised David Grush's house. They put audio surveillance devices in there. They left a message out for the guy as a warning on his freaking kitchen table.
Sure, but cutting brake lines, and the police see that the brake lines are cut, but they're not going to put it in a report. That kind of starts getting into, and they released this one report, and then they haven't released another. So he would have had at least one more performance report, and his DD-214 is discharge, which again could very much support his treatment by his supervisors. But personality wise and things like that, there are things I see in him where it kind of also paints a picture. He's a kid who is smarter than his rank allowed him to be. He probably pissed off a lot of the NCOs and officers above him. And he probably had a little bit of an attitude that he was working below his station and his capacity.
So at that point, do you think
nosing around places he shouldn't have been nosing around, right, wrong, or indifferent?
Right.
And that might account for all of the problems he had.
Do you think he could have been overthinking the situation?
Well, possibly. Again, I looked at looking at that report. It was April of 2012, so it was 3-4 months later that then he has that summer he talks about spotting the UFO, the object over Langley. So then there's this medical issue with the wisdom teeth. That's done because that's what makes you deployable. And then the story sort of starts falling apart as far as what exactly was the characterization of the discharge. And, then you get into the whole VA thing and the VA stories, which again are very far-fetched for how the VA normally operates and who you see in the VA and things like that. So I think there's, I don't doubt if he saw something, there might have been the trauma associated with that. I think there's certainly some underlying personality issues that were probably at play through all that and kind of created a perfect storm. But I think some of this is starting to get a little outside, again, for the rank in the station and everything like that, it's starting to get a little overboard.
Yeah. I hear you. There's more of a story evolving that, well, I've got another clip. He's talking about the jinn. And I think this is what you're kind of talking about.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Well, no, Mike, we have to cover all parts. Right?
No. Yeah, this is not good.
Well.
Okay.
The jinn are known to whisper in the minds of humans. Coming from the Quran.
God.
Folks, we're talking about the same entities here, just a different linguistic and cultural context. In other words, saying the same kind of things that were around a long time ago in legend and story could have been around then, and they're still around now. But let's get to this clip and see where it goes, shall we?
Yeah.
What they look like.
Okay.
Audio's down again. Thank you, X, for continuing to do that. Let's get to it. There we go. Coming from iRep World over on Twitter. Let's play it. Here we go.
We don't really know what they look like. They're so advanced to us.
Come on. Really? Mike, we don't know what they look like?
Yes, we do. Grush confirmed that they are the gray type.
Yeah.
And have been reported for decades by abductees. And so, yeah, we know exactly what they look like. Steven Spielberg did a movie that had them in it. Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
You mean the tridactyls?
Documentary. No, not the tridactyl.
Mike, if you put up a picture of the tridactyls next to E.T., it's the same fucking head shape. Not the head shape, not E.T., I'm sorry. In Close Encounters of the Third Kind, of the aliens who came on the spaceship and came up and they greeted people and everything. It's the same freaking head shape, neck, and everything. Remember, there was someone who admitted that Spielberg had access to people in the government who were trying to provide information to go ahead and use it to lessen the shock to humanity.
Well, in that movie back in '77, they had a world-famous French director. His name was Francois Truffaut.
Right, but Jacques
made a lot of
Vallée,
fantastic movies. He was portraying Jacques Vallée. That was my
in the
point.
movie. Yeah.
Right. They called him by a different name, but yeah, it was the Jacques Vallée character. And Jacques Vallée consulted with Spielberg.
Of course.
In real life.
But other people also consulted with Spielberg.
Right. But that was the influence for that movie.
Let's see if what Spielberg has been cutting right now, Mike, is going to be tied to 2034. Supposedly the date. 2027 is a ruse. We know it's in the mid-2030s, but something's going to happen.
Yes, and remind me after the show, when we're in the back chat, I got to give you an update on that I think you'll find very interesting. Yeah. It's funny you mentioned that. Perfect timing.
Yeah. You go into meditation enough times, you get an idea of what the future, the past, and the present is all about.
Well, this is more of, I think, a humorous connection.
Yeah.
You'll understand better when we talk about it in the back chat.
Am I only 6 seconds in, or did we play this clip already?
Of the Jin? I don't think I haven't heard it.
All right. Here we go. Let's play it.
Yeah, let's play it.
Gods, sure, could be at that
There we
level.
go.
You know, we don't really know what they look like.
Oh, that's right. That's
You know,
where
they're
he's
so
fucking
advanced
positive.
to us. Gods, sure, could be at that level. They might as well be God.
Little g gods, Robin. I think as you described them, but yeah, gods. It's a higher level of life that's not necessarily spiritual, but in consciousness.
Gods are so far advanced. I don't think they need craft to get here. That's some kind of a bauble. That's something to get us interested. Look, hey, look at this. That's why we maybe have so many of them. They don't necessarily crash. That appears to be a crash. Something that's always been here. I'm not entirely positive they have our best interests at heart.
Oh, hell no.
Feels like an experiment. They mess with us on a mass scale, an individual scale, and I'm not sure we're ever going to understand it.
I tend to agree with you. I have many thoughts on this, and this is one of the other things I came into knowledge of while at my work at DTRA before I lost my job. When Congress passed the archives legislation where all the agencies were supposed to round up all their documents, I had a wonderful conversation on my last day, and I'm sure it was just coincidental. The person in charge of collecting all of the information from DTRA dealing with extraterrestrials and, as he put it, quote unquote, little green men, happened to sit next to me at my computer terminal and began pulling all of the documents on my system and the systems in our skiff. Interesting fact for you was that he came into the old atomic energy documents from.
But Mike, we know that's where it's all hidden.
1954 Atomic Energy Act, correct?
Yeah. DOE.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Very
You always want to
interesting.
point the
And
fingers at the military contractors and say, well, they're not giving it to them because, well, they are giving it to them because, well, you can go ahead and hide the stuff there. No one's going to hear about it. But if you want to keep it in control of the federal government, you go ahead and do it in the DOE because they are, what do you call it? Free from any
or congressional oversight.
Yeah.
Right.
Someone rang the doorbell. Let's play this. I'll be right back.
Way back when, and there was intelligence and information in those that discuss what you said, which is this has been around with them, and that even back then they had a similar outlook that this isn't exactly for our benefit. You know, you get into, and again, I don't want to go too woo. I want to really avoid the woo, but we're going into hypotheticals, and I try to keep all options open. You're right. Theoretically, they don't have to come here. I mean, we're working with Neuralink. We're projecting thoughts. We're doing all of this, dreams. You have MK Ultra. You have all of this stuff throughout the history, and all of our intelligence agencies never get rid of that capability. They only get better at it, and they only get better at hiding it. But if somebody's able to put a thought in your head, George, and tell you build this craft, yeah, you're the one who built it, but the thought came from somebody else. And now you start to get into places that are purely hypothetical, and I'm not even saying I believe them, but it's clear there's something to this.
Like thoughts as intruders from a non-human intelligence, having humanity do the bidding that they want without direct knowledge that it's being asked by someone else. And we're talking about that, right?
Theoretically, that's a possibility, 100%. I think on Joe Rogan, he mentions like artificial intelligence influencing humans to continue to create artificial intelligence and just round and round.
Yeah, the metamorphosis philosophy that Rogan talks about, it's really beautiful.
I mean, I keep all options on the table. What I know is these things are real. They exist. We've had them. Other nations have them. I know that in some way, shape, or form, they appear in a physical sense. I know that they have an interest in people, and I have a strong belief that they have an interest in certain families, if you want to call them that. What does it all mean? I don't know, but what I do know is that as a democratic republic, and a nation that votes for our elected leaders and leaders that are supposed to provide us information, we're not fulfilling our obligation in our Constitution because we're not voting with information. We are lying to ourselves.
What info?
All right.
Is everything okay?
Neighbor issues with kids.
Okay.
Hitting the BMW with baseball bat, not baseball bat, but baseballs and stuff. They're playing ball and damaging his property and dinging up his vehicle, and he just needs some help. So it's didn't mean to run away on everybody, but it's life.
Well, that's what 911 is for, Thomas.
Yeah, I know. I'll help where I can. That's what I'm about. All right.
Yeah,
So we just saw the
it.
issue and everything going about the gin and everything. Sorry, I missed the end of it.
Yeah, he didn't really get too heavily into the gin
Yeah.
or aspects like that. But, you know, interestingly enough,
Yeah.
Dr. Gary Nolan did an interview recently. And what he said is that he has been talking with people who are working directly in the legacy programs for the government. And what they told him is that the difficulties that they've been having is the technology is so far advanced that it's like dropping an iPhone in with a caveman. There's no way the caveman is going to be able to understand it or figure it out. And that's where we're at with this advanced technology. But you and I have known that for a long time. We've talked about this, made similar comparisons. But now Dr. Gary Nolan is repeating that and making the same analogies to what the difficulties are.
You design technology for the application. If you need to
Right.
figure out how do I make something that's a hardened device, right?
Yeah.
That's what they have to do. And eventually they'll figure it out. And it sounds like they've figured out some different ways to block different types of radiation from devices that we have from affecting the technology.
Right.
But it also is like what we're seeing from both Ukraine and from Russia right now. Everything is about first-person drones that are running on fiber
Batteries.
optics.
Yeah.
That's for battle blowing shit up. But what we're seeing right now, we're seeing the drones coming in over these different military bases. Then they're going on to airports and they're shutting down traffic. It's a nuisance.
Yeah, and from the description they gave us over in Europe, especially by Munich Airport, it sounds like they're using children's drones from Amazon.
No, these things are bigger than
1.5
that.
feet.
It reminds me of some of the stuff in the United States, but it's just even like Danish intelligence reports. The Russians have totally lost their shit. There have been recorded cases of dangerous close encounters between Russian warships and Danish vessels, as well as incidents of Russian forces aiming at their weapons at them. Now, this is over in the straits around Denmark, where there are Russian warships. It all kind of aligns. We all want it to be UFOs. That'd be great. UFOs are coming down and trying to stop us from having a war. But what we're seeing ongoing right now is like the echoes of a war that's happening, going to happen in the future.
Right. It's escalating, and
Yeah.
it's not getting any better,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Meanwhile, in Czechoslovakia,
Yeah.
they have deployed snipers who are monitoring objects approaching their Václav Havel airport in Prague. So the Czechs are ready. They are armed. They will take these drones on if they can.
You know what?
That's what we need.
Good for them.
Yes.
You and I agree.
Oh, God.
Take them down.
Last night in Finland. Wow. Sorry, I see these things and it's just energy and it's just beautiful stuff. Like anything in nature, this blows it away. All right, because that's Earth. All right, here's another thing. Apparently, last night, during the Munich drone fiasco, several people noticed an extremely concerning release of radiation that appeared to be flowing in the same direction the wind was blowing. The readings were higher than Chernobyl. 2,000 were safe, and this was coming in at 15,000. Then, after people started reporting on it, the governments there reported and said, oh, no, it's not real. We're doing a test of the system right now. All this data is fake. Who do you believe? The numbers showing what's going on are saying, no, we're just testing this?
No, I don't believe that.
No.
Do you? No way. It's a joke.
Yeah. But then again, humans can be humans, right?
Right.
We make a lot of mistakes. All right.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So this is what they're talking about for the second night in a row. Munich International Airport in southern Germany has been closed for arriving and departing flights due to drones in the airspace. Now, here's the thing. People always say, oh, we're just looking up now and now the drones are going on, right? But the reality of it is air traffic controllers are always scanning the skies with their eyes in addition to their screens because there's people up on the towers who are watching everything. If you're seeing something, they're saying something. So people want to say, oh, like Mick West and everybody else, all these drones, these things aren't real, right? But if the people whose eyes are trained to look at the sky, it kind of quantifies it, doesn't it?
Yeah, I would say so.
And I would say, yeah, they're not making this shit up. There's things going on. There's things in the air. But everything is pointing towards World War III with Russia. Isn't that going to be fun?
No, not at all.
Yeah. Oh, did you hear about
Nobody
the deal?
needs that.
Actually, this one took me by surprise. Did you hear about the deal earlier this week with Pfizer?
Where they're going to work with Trump to sell cheaper medication?
Well, it's only going for people in Medicaid, but they've gotten the lowest rates, so the lowest cost compared to any other country that's out there. They're going to give us that price point.
So the cheapest price is the price they're going to get.
Oh, look at this. This looks cool. I think this is a roadway or something that's on. It's not a beam that's getting shot down. An unidentified aircraft is undergoing testing at Lockheed Martin's Hessendale radar cross-section test range in Southern California.
Well, it's not an F-47.
No.
Because that's Boeing.
Yeah. Ozone Cowboy, your hand is up. I've seen this craft though on the back of a cat like that, but it was covered at times. So this craft is something they've been working on. Chromosome Cowboy, your hand is up. Do you want to talk about this?
Yeah, that's I saw that today on Twitter X, and someone's just took some clips of somebody else's podcast. So you might even find people in the comments posting the guy's podcast that did it. It's and something encounters, but them poles, them white things are retractable poles. You see that?
I mean this
that
thing?
Lorry there. Yeah, and it comes up. I guess they've got them like that sort of shape.
But if you look at it though,
like
too, you're right, because here you're seeing a shadow on it, based on the angle coming from the craft. Here's a different one where it's not going across, it's going down on a deeper angle.
That white thing's a
And this
telescopic pole. You do see it go down on this guy's thing.
Yeah.
On his they camped out there, and as you see there, it's fixed the same way on the lorry.
Yep.
But they got a thing, must be underground. There was a little building.
No, but I've seen this craft though. It came from Lockheed Skunk Works, and it was near Lockheed, whatever it was, where they had this thing on the back of a semi. You call it a lorry, we call it a semi here in the United States, but it looked very, very similar to this object that's right here. So that coupled with
that's them taking it away,
that coupled with, go upstairs, Mocha.
They just brought it in, hoisted it up on the thing.
Yeah.
Did whatever they wanted to do and back down and then put it on the truck and off they went. And he was sort of hiding because they hadn't spotted him.
They don't put it on the truck. This thing would have to land on the truck like that in order to go ahead and support it.
Yeah, it went down so low that it disappeared. I don't know whether it went underground or...
Mr. Halloween Husky, his husky is sleeping. I have one over here who's... Come here, Mocha. Want a cookie? Come here, Mocha, come on. Come on. All right. Interesting stuff to say the least. Syrup, your hand is raised, my friend.
Oh, did you call me, Thomas?
You put your hand up.
Oh, I'm sorry. My phone was kind of choppy. I was just going to point out that they... sorry about that. I think what they do right there is they put it up on that, whatever that is, and they test like radar signatures, its stealth ability or whatever. And that's what they kind of do with that thing there in Hellendale. They put it up on that and then they'll see how stealth it is or whatever kind of testing they do. But yeah, it's not flying. It's that spot right there in Hellendale is right next to Edwards. And I believe it's all that stuff is right next to each other. Pretty cool though, man. And then that little area right there in Hellendale and right there by Kramer Junction and all that if you camp out there, sometimes you can see some pretty cool stuff.
Oh yeah,
in the sky.
Absolutely, like this right here. This is Manitoba. Mike, can you see this? We have the RCMP in Manitoba getting out there and getting into the fucking aurora they can see.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's beautiful.
God, yeah. See these things. All right, we got okay, so we got another clip of Dylan Borland here.
Can I ask you a quick question about that, Thomas? You trying to get through it? I'll let you get through it. Sorry.
Let's get through it, then you can ask a question. Here we go, everybody.
Questions. I get connected to Senate staffers, and they are asking me questions, and I tell them I have witnessed a triangle at Langley Air Force Base, but I have direct, in-depth knowledge of a hell of a lot more, and I am not comfortable sharing that over the phone, and as long as I am legally allowed to come to you, I will be there as soon as you will let me. And I go into meet with staffers.
We know who you testified to, and it's not, it's somebody who's has a high responsibility when it comes to this subject as far as intake and protecting whistleblowers. And when that person was in position, which they're not anymore, they did a great job.
They did. I wish nothing but the best for them. I loved those people, all of them. It upsets me, and I had suspicions because I, again, have been through what I've been through, and I can kind of recognize when people are being toyed with, that towards the tail end, they were definitely being played with, and that was my concern, and I think they recognized I knew it, and they tried to alleviate it on me. But I wish nothing but the best for them.
You told them pretty much everything, or did you hold some of it back?
I held a lot back. I had gone in, they had scheduled my meeting. There were 4 of them in the room.
You gave them program names, locations, the nature of the propulsion systems, everything.
I gave them my direct knowledge of the triangle, my direct knowledge of that entire event, and then guaranteed factual, no argument about it, a legacy program in detail with technology integration, how it works, where it's at, the whole kit and caboodle.
So they know.
What's the reaction? How do they react? Do they take it seriously, or are they?
Well, my two favorite moments is the one gentleman that we know was absolutely excited, and he was very much like, it's like, okay, let me hear more. There's another one that is public now, who I don't think he really wanted to believe it, and then made some comments here and there. And then towards the tail end, I had dropped 2 magic words. And when those 2 magic words dropped, I will never forget it. As soon as those 2 words dropped, that individual's mouth hit the floor. He threw his hands in his hair, looked at me, literally looked down at the paper he was writing notes on, and exasperated an agency name, and was just like staring off into space like, what the hell am I supposed to do now?
Was it a program name?
Yes.
2-word program name?
Yep.
Something you should not know. Something you should not know.
Probably. I mean, at this point, it is what it is.
But that they, based on the reaction, they do.
100%.
Rick Roberts, your hand is up.
We assume that the 2-word program was Immaculate Constellation, and do we know who the person that he's referring to that is no longer with Arrow?
You mean Tim Phillips?
Okay, that's what you think he's at? Okay, Tim Phillips, thank you.
Tim Phillips or John Kirkpatrick?
I don't think they would have given Kirkpatrick a glowing review like that, though.
No. Mike, your thoughts?
Yeah.
I get connected to Senate staffers.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. It's not Immaculate Constellation. That was a surveillance, presidential, unacknowledged special access program that Matthew Brown had brought to Congress. He's talking about an actual legacy program with hands on a craft. So the 2-letter or 2-word legacy program is not Immaculate Constellation, but it's something that they obviously recognized. So that means, what that tells me is Congress is aware of a lot of legacy program information, but for some reason they haven't shared that with the public or in any of these hearings. I wonder why. Their job is to bring all this information out forward. They're not doing their job.
Yeah.
But we've talked about that with how people who are advocates for disclosure publicly, privately, they're the opposite. So I think Danny Sheehan was talking about that, right? We covered that the other day.
Yeah, where he's unhappy with the people in Congress. But then didn't he say in another interview that those people in Congress were having their lives threatened?
I didn't hear that. Did he say that?
He said that apparently. That was in the interview with that UAP podcast from Scotland.
Really?
Yeah.
No, if that's true, why aren't the members of Congress coming out and speaking publicly? They should. They have a duty to, as our legal representatives.
Oh, in other words, someone else could have been letting those donkeys out on Tim Burchett.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But Tim is armed. I don't think he's afraid.
Exactly.
Right.
Anyway, well, my friend, happy Friday. We made it.
Yeah, we did. It was
actually on Chromosome Cowboy said something in the back. He jumped in. Where can I see with all of the goddamn messages? Screw with this for a second so I can see for the audience. All right, go into there. Chromosome Cowboy. A link to a video on YouTube that we need to maybe show. So I got that. Let me throw this to here. Bring this up really quick.
Yeah, it's just that guy who filmed the
Oh, this is the guy who actually filmed the shit going on.
Yeah. If you sort of skip back.
So that white shit is the white shit is the white stuff coming up from the bottom and going towards the object? Because if you look at where it's coming from, there's the projection points of where it's landing is changing.
I think like Syrup said, that's a stand. That's holding the object up.
No.
And they're moving radar at it.
Oh hell no. No.
Because if you skip to later, you'll see it come down.
I woke up the next
Turn off the audio on this thing before I kill myself. No, let's cover this tomorrow. Actually.
It's on a really, really long zoom. Which,
all right.
Yeah, we could do it tomorrow.
Let's do this, Mike. This is a great piece. This is very interesting to say the least.
Okay.
Something worthy of a bigger deep dive tomorrow.
I agree.
This is huge. So, on that note, my friends, where is it at? Mike, what a great show. What an opportunity to go ahead and hang out with friends. Happy Friday. It wasn't too much of a fuck you Friday. At least we've gotten past some of the issues in my neck, and I can continue for the time being. Mocha, eat your damn cookie. There you go. Thank you for hanging out, my friend Mike. Appreciate you,
fun.
Jay Anderson, everyone for being here. Gene.
All of our good friends.
Oh yeah.
We're here with us tonight, which makes it a lot more fun and very interesting conversation for everybody. So yeah, thank you for doing this. It was a great show tonight, my friend.
Okay, gotta have a fun time, as always. Now, Mike, let me jump back into the studio on this. Where am I at? There we go. Mike, great show. Great opportunity to hang out with friends. Thank everybody in the audience for being here tonight. Thank you, everybody. Super chats. What do we have? And I lost it. Did I lose it? Christ, I know I got a couple super chats from Daryl. Daryl, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Anybody else, thank you very much. I've lost my chat window. And Mike, as we usually say at the end of every episode of Disclosure tonight, eyes open, no fear, be safe, everybody, but
go back to Party City where you belong.
Absolutely. We'll catch you on the flip side. See you tomorrow, everybody. Y'all come back now here. Take care. Bye-bye.